General Sir Richard Shirreff, former Deputy Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. Good morning, General. Thanks for being with us. Difficult to know where to start. What did you make of this summit?
Well, good morning. I mean, let's look at some of the things that have come out of it, drill down into that. Number one, Putin gets the red carpet treatment. He's brought in out of the cold, as Dominic Waghorn has just said. He's put up on a plinth alongside President Trump, and here, of course, don't forget, is an indicted war criminal. And the Americans would have been entirely within their rights to have put him in an orange jumpsuit and sent him off to The Hague in manacles. Meanwhile, what does Trump get? He gets lots of attention, a place in the sun which he craves. But the reality, in terms of stopping the war, last night, as you just reported, another 85 drones incoming. Putin has done nothing in any way, shape, or form to bring an end to this conflict. Interesting to see what happens next week. Whether Trump gets together with Zelensky, and let's see some more on the very shaky suggestions of security guarantees. But thus far, a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you talk about security guarantees there, because President Zelensky has just indicated that Trump is showing a bit more commitment about security guarantees. But there is the problem then of Putin, if there is a ceasefire, of Putin accepting the security guarantees as part of that deal.
The only way, and let's be clear, the only security guarantees that matter for Ukraine are NATO membership. That is the only guarantee that will ultimately stop Russia achieving its long-term intent of continuing the war and removing Ukraine from the map as a sovereign state. Is Putin going to accept that now? No way, not a chance. The only way Putin's going to accept that is when and if he's forced to accept that. And that, however unfashionable it might be to say this, means that Russia's got to get a bloody nose, and it's got to be defeated. That is about a million miles away at the moment. So I see no prospect of this thing coming to an end.
Vladimir Putin said a couple of curious things when he was speaking. He warned European leaders not to torpedo the process, so clearly he fears that the Europeans may try to do that, although we don't know what that process is in detail. He then said of the security of Ukraine, he said that security must be ensured. But of course, what was he talking about? Ensured by whom? What sort of Ukraine security has to be ensured? He left so much out.
Yeah, and what we're seeing is Putin manipulating Trump to divide the Western alliance, which he's effectively done. As you've said, the pillar of unity between Europe and America on treating Putin like a pariah is in pieces. As far as Russia's concerned, the only security guarantees that matter are Russian domination over Ukraine. And Putin has given not 1 inch on his maximalist aims. He's given not 1 inch on, let's not forget, one of his aims is rolling back NATO to its pre-97 borders. And that means effectively giving Putin what he wants, a free run in Eastern Europe.
Where do you see things going from here? I suppose the key, General, is how President Trump reacts and what he does going forward.
Well, the war will go on. Ukrainian cities will continue to get drone attacks and missile attacks, and Ukrainian civilians will continue to be killed. The war will go on the front line, and then meanwhile the diplomatic dance will continue. And until Trump recognizes and understands that the only way to stop this war is through bearing down on Russia, putting together a strategy to force Russia to accept what the West and what Ukraine wants, then nothing will change. And meanwhile, what we're actually seeing is the other side of the house. So Trump blows hot and cold about sanctions, and what does he do? He backs off, shows weakness, and instead puts Putin on a pedestal. So I think there'll be more of that from Trump.
On a slightly more detailed point, it is reported that Russia wants, as part of this land deal, that Russia wants the whole of the Donbass. I think Ukraine has about 16 or 17% at the moment, and the Russians want them to give up that land. Do you see any possibility that the Ukraine, I mean, they have defensive installations there, they have troops there holding the line. Do you see any possibility that Zelensky would ever give up that land as part of the deal?
Not unless he is forced to capitulate. Let's not forget, it's not just troops and fortifications and defensive positions. It's Ukrainian people. And how could any Ukrainian leader acquiesce in the handing over of large swathes of Ukrainian territory and Ukrainian people to Russian occupation, for more deportations of children, for more illegal imprisonments with assaults and illegal imprisonment and assaults on people, for more of the apparatus of Russian occupation? No, it's unconscionable.
Okay, General, well, actually, just before you go, do you ever see Putin attending a meeting with Zelensky?
I'll keep my options open on it. Never say never. And who knows, it might happen. But the bottom line is, of course, there can be no agreement until President Zelensky agrees it.
General Shirreff, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.